We've got 4 trends. One's called Glitch, which is the title of the presentation. One's called Neo-Futurism, one's called Techno-Tribal, and one's called Grid.
Techno-Tribal, just one of the trends, because I'm just thinking you're South African and it'll appeal to all your South African viewers. It's just how, taking tribal images and iconography of the past, and how injecting it with new technology has just given it such a fresh jolt of authenticity and creativity. So that's just one of the trends that's really exciting to see what they're doing with that.
I think it's part of a global trend. I mean, when we talk about tribal iconography, that's not just African, that's everything from Native American, Indian, traditional kind of tribal art forms, but also new tribal art forms, things like street art, graffiti. So it's kind of mixing those kind of iconographies with digital technology. It's the kind of juxtaposition of the two creates quite good energy and feels quite fresh and quite now. I mean, glitch is a trend. The idea of the glitch is a kind of change in voltage of an electric current, but it's now become a kind of creative motif, which now you see it everywhere actually in creative culture. It's the idea that originally you would have to kind of wait to see a natural glitch created by technology, and now there are like applications which enable you to put the glitch back in. You see it all over the different creative fields. Where artists are now like looking at ways of kind of putting the inconsistencies back into the technology and looking at what kind of creative solutions you can come from that.
It's nice to see, technology is so perfect. It's nice to see the imperfections and what they can do and how they can create good-looking art forms.
I mean, it's kind of a reaction against the perfectionism of kind of current digital technology, and also it's a reaction against the kind of hyper-realism of it. The idea of the glitch. The idea of the glitch is quite interesting because in a way it reminds us that there are machines behind the scenes, working away. And almost like the idea when there is a glitch, it kind of reminds you that there's it breaks the facade. Yeah. It breaks the facade, and I think people quite like that. It almost humanizes the technology.
Right.
And grid is it's the antithesis of the techno-tribal in a way. It's all about very clean lines. It's about stripping things back to the structure and kind of the form behind, objects. So it's kind of very flat structures, monochrome. The trend has been really popular in fashion, interior design. A lot of fine artists are using kind of these grid-like structures, in-store design. And yeah, it's just a very kind of quite bold, kind of stark, connects to a kind of minimalism trend, which is kind of running, currently as well. Neo-Futurism is about the kind of struggle of trying to find a new creative style that embodies the times, without any referencing of kind of retro or historical imagery.
Looking forward.
So the idea of just looking forward. Okay, what does now look like? What should it look like? We've had so many years of constantly kind of retro revival, referencing things from the past, retro styles, Instagram filters, etc., etc. And I think now creative culture is now sort of sitting up and saying, okay, we need to be looking forward. What should the future look like? How can we use new technology? Drone camera images or Google Glasses or these new man-machine interfaces, and use them in a different way to create a new aesthetic.
People come to Cannes looking for inspiration, and we tend as an industry to look inward and at each other and just at advertising and what we're doing, what some of the big brands are doing. And here we're giving you all these trends that sort of come from different disciplines, like fashion and art and architecture and all these sort of what's going on outside of our own industry.